On the MVP programme, we've learned about how to teach young kids on important topics such as stereotypes.
I've learned the dangers of different violences, how we can prevent them, and the aftermath of what they cause.
We learned about all types of violence and how people choose whether to intervene, whether not to intervene, how people respond to it. And we learned about victim blaming and how it's a negative and it makes victims feel uncomfortable talking about the situations they've been in and how to stop them.
I've learned the difference in opinions generation to generation, because even though we're year 10s teaching year 8s, there's still such a difference on how we view everyone around us and how we view school, our parents, and just the maturity difference between us.
We learn how to be better people and to be nicer to everyone else that we can be, and just to be overall just better people in general.
We've learned about types of abuse, physical, mental and grooming.
We've learned about stuff like how to tackle violence and the different bystander approaches you can take in a violent situation.
We've basically been learning about discrimination against different disabilities, races and genders.
I think that in MVP we learned more than just academic and the facts, and we learned how to communicate with children especially and lead lessons and take control of what we can learn and teach.
We learned all the dangers of stereotypes and how they can affect young people.
We've learned how to address how to act in a violent situation and how to handle it properly.
I've learned that violence is not acceptable no matter what it is, and some people they think being violent for the just cause is okay, that if you're being violent just because someone just side eyes you or something is okay. That violence is not always the right option. There can be another option, not just violence. Violence is never okay.
I think the thing that stuck out to me most was the things about victim blaming and how it can affect a situation from a crime, and how people can just put the blame on somebody who was the victim instead of the perpetrator of the crime. I just think it's wrong.
So I mainly learned about how victim blaming can occur in the media, and how the media can make different situations sound and blame different people for it.
I've learned how gang violence and weapons really affect people in our age groups and even the people below us.
We've learned to be an active bystander and to get involved if people are going through things or need help off people.
We've learned how to be an active bystander, and we've taught the year 8s in our school on how to not be a bully or how to help your friends if they're in need.
In MVP I learned about an active and a passive bystander, which is in a situation do you want to be active and do something in the situation, you'll just stand there and watch, because in most situations you have an active or a passive bystander and you want to strive to be an active bystander.
What I've learned is that you shouldn't stay idle when people are being bullied. You should be a bystander. No, you should be active bystander and stand up for them.
We learned how to be active bystanders and protect people from violence without being directly involved. And we learned how to stop situations of violence from even occurring in the first place.
We've learned how to be better people and make sure that the people around us are doing well and they're safe.
We learned about stereotypes and how they affect how people act or how they view things.
We've learned a number of topics including gender stereotypes and violence protection, and we looked at how to be an active bystander instead of being a passive one, and we linked this to cases such as the Katie Genevieve case.
We've learned how different types of people react to violence. So there's bystanders, you can be active bystander or a passive bystander, and we've learned about victim blaming and how some people think it's actually the victim's fault, and we're trying to tell them victims that it's not their fault and it's okay that happened to you, and we're going to try and prevent it in the future.
I've learned how simple stuff like looking out for people can go over people's heads, and it's really nice to see young children engaging with people.
We also learned about stereotypes and how people view girls a certain way and view boys a different way as well.
We've also learned how the younger people what topics the younger people want to learn about MVP and what things they're worried about in their local community, such as like carrying weapons.
On the MVP program, I've learned how I can spread positivity and how I can help other people when they need help and how to find signs that they need help. I think it's important to have MVP in our school because it helps raise awareness of how other people's mental health might be and how they are feeling, but also helps us teach other people on how they can deal with situations better.
I think it's good to have MVP in our school because it gives kids resources of where they can go for help and how they can get it.
It just creates an environment where children are safer to talk to, older children about certain topics that they may not be comfortable with talking to adults.
I think it's important because even though we do have people to talk to, like teachers, I feel like it's a lot more easier when you're talking to your peers instead of adults who probably don't get anything nowadays.
I think it's important because it gives the year 7s a people to talk to if they don't feel comfortable talking to their teachers or talking to an adult at home, and gives a youth perspective on the situation.
I think it's important to teach young people how to take care of themselves when they leave school and when they go into the big world, because it's scary, everyone knows that.
It makes people aware of what they have to deal with when they're growing up and the things that can happen in society.
Because it helps the younger generation know what violence is, how we can prevent it, the dangers of it, and how we can change people's futures.
For teenagers, it's really common to have fights and get into arguments over little stuff. So if we can prevent that and just get them to get along better and resolve things without having to bring violence into the equation, then that would be good.
So we can understand that some things that we do aren't right, and we shouldn't judge people just by how they look or just because they're a girl or a boy.
So we can get involved with things and stop people from getting hurt and get involved. To prevent other things from happening.
I think it's important to have MVP to show people that when you see all these statistics about everyone who's been involved in violence, that it's not just a statistic and it actually is people who are having all this violence against them, and it's not a nice thing to happen in this world. So it's really important to try and prevent that so everyone feels comfortable and safe.
I think it's just good to raise awareness about the things that we talk about, because it's really important, especially for that year group, because they're kind of getting older and then they go into the years where it kind of gets a bit more serious. So I think it's a good thing for transitioning into that kind of world.
It's so we can make people aware of these issues that we're being taught about, like carrying weapons and stuff like that, and that they know if something's happening to them or someone they know, they are able to help.
It's really good because you're teaching the next generation and how to act, how to solve different things as well, that go around in the community. You're helping young people to educate the community and help the different problems that go on with it.
There's a number of topics that we study in MVP that are very important for knowing, because these things, if we're not knowledgeable about, then it can affect us in the future.
I think surrounding violence, people often choose not to speak up about what's happened to them, and I think it's really important that people have someone standing in front of them, specifically their age group, because it really gives them a wake-up call and shows them that it's okay to speak up.
It kind of educates us on the life choices we make and how they affect us positively or negatively.
I think it can make people a lot more aware of what's going on in situations with bullying and that, and how to just make sure it stops and stays out of our school.
You get to see different opinions with different children, the way they're being brought up, or that can affect all different types of opinions. So the way we were doing the presentations, you could see the different opinions vary between the children.
I think it gives a casual opportunity for people to come forward about stuff that they may not want to tell a teacher or their parents. They can come talk to us because we're in school, we're dealing with the same problems. and they can see us in the hallway and they know that we're not going to bring it up to their parents. We don't have to get involved with safeguarding, and we know when to tell a teacher, but they can still just, if they're having a squabble with their mates, they can come to us instead of having to get all the faculty involved.
I've actually had some year 7s come up to me and tell me about how they saw a fight and what they should have done, and I said how they should have gone and talked to a teacher, and then they soon realised that they should have done that, and then they went to go talk to it and got the situation sorted.
I think it's to let people know that there is a space in an area that you can come together and talk about things like bad things that happen in the world. Yeah.
I think it's important to have MVP in our school because it means that we can teach the younger children to prepare for the future in case anything bad comes up, and they've got someone their own age that can relate to them.